Thank you. Mr. Secretary, Foreign Minister. Mr. Secretary, you mentioned Doha while talking about ceasefire talks. Can you confirm CIA Chief Bill Burns is going to be there? And do you think these talks are now in final stretch? You also talked about your meeting with Saudi Crown Prince. What progress exactly have you made? Are we close to having a U.S.-Saudi civil defense pact and cooperation on civil nuclear agreement? What are the remaining sticking points? And on Rafah, Israel's strategic minister Ron Dermer in a podcast said Israel will take control of Rafah even if it leads to a potential breach with the United States. These comments, like many more comments that we've heard over the last couple of months, are in complete contradiction with U.S. stance. And you're going to Israel tomorrow. I feel like I've asked you this question many times, but I'll try again. How will you convince an ally that knows there won't be any serious consequences, even if it ignores U.S. warnings repeatedly? Mr. Foreign Minister, would Egypt allow Hamas members to go through its territory to depart for third-party countries? And separately, U.S. has withheld $85 million of military aid to Egypt last year, saying it has concerns over its human rights track record. How do you feel that U.S. seems unwilling to use the same leverage to Israel? Does that double standard bother you? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me, again, thank you also for getting in all of your colleagues' questions, too. First of all, on Doha, I can't speak to the CIA director's schedule. I can speak to the fact that he's been doing an extraordinary job in working with our counterparts from Qatar, from Egypt, as well as from Israel, in trying to get to an agreement on a ceasefire with the release of hostages. The teams are working every single day on this. As I said, there's still real challenges. We've closed the gaps, but there are still gaps. So I can't put a timeline on it. I can just say that we're committed to doing everything possible to reaching an agreement, and that work is ongoing as we speak. And I also had an opportunity during this trip meeting with counterparts from Egypt and from Qatar to help pursue that effort. With regard to Saudi Arabia, what I can tell you is this is something, the normalization plan that we've been working on for many months. In fact, we were working on this intensely before October 7th. And in fact, I was scheduled to come to the region, to Saudi Arabia and to Israel, on October 10th, precisely for that reason, and to actually focus on the Palestinian component of the normalization plan. But in terms of where we are now, what I can say is this: we've made very good progress, especially over the last month or so. We still have some work to do, but I believe that, again, the progress is good. It's real. I can't put a time frame on it, but we are, I think, getting close to a point where we'll have agreements. On Rafah, again, we've been very clear. President Biden's been very clear that a major ground operation in Rafah would be a mistake and something that we can't support. There is no place for the many civilians who are massed in Gaza, in Rafah, to go to get out of harm's way. And for those that would inevitably remain, it would be a humanitarian disaster. But there's also a false choice involved here, because we are determined, as Israel is, and indeed, as other partners in the region are, to deal with the ongoing problem posed by Hamas, a threat to so many. And Hamas can be effectively dealt with without a major ground operation in Rafah. And one of the reasons that we have counterparts from the Israeli government coming to Washington next week is precisely to focus on that, to share with them our views on what alternative actions could be that would deal with this very significant problem, but in a way that does not do further harm to civilians.